Hey folks, the old adage goes that he who defines the terms wins the argument. And we've seen this manifest most clearly in the political arena as a politician will use a redefinition of a term to promote his or her personal agenda. Now, these terms are oftentimes redefined maybe through the halls of academia, and these redefinitions are promoted through the mediums of TV, music, radio, social networks, whatever it might be. And gradually, the culture has come to embrace these redefinitions, even if they are ridiculous. Of course, one of the most prolific examples of this is the use of the word tolerance. When I grew up back in the 60s and the 70s, being tolerant meant to live and let live. We can agree to disagree. But that word is now being redefined that if you do not believe that my opinion, that my values, that my beliefs, that my ideas are equal to yours, you're being intolerant. And that's like calling somebody a legalist in Christianity. People just shrink from that without ever saying, that's ridiculous. That's ludicrous. We can have different ideas. We can agree to disagree. But this redefinition is being so embraced in our culture that people are scared to death of being called intolerant. Now, the idea of defining words is obviously very, very important. And I would suggest as homeschoolers, there's one word that we really need to define for ourselves and for our children. And that word is success. What is your definition of success? When we ask each other, how are your kids doing? The temptation or the normal protocol is we tell them about how they're doing in school or their work. Perhaps if they're married or have kids, we'll talk about that. Seldom when someone asks, how are your kids doing, Kirk? I say, well, this one's really growing in grace right now, but this one needs to be sanctified more by the Holy Spirit. You know, our minds don't think of that being success. And the scriptures clearly teach that if we gain the whole world yet lose our souls, it does not profit. It is not success. And so I want to challenge us today as parents to really think through what these definitions, because we are true, we live true to our definitions. If we say our main priority is that our kids know Jesus Christ, but all we talk about is money, or a six-figure job, or a great education to get a great job, if that consumes most of our conversation, that is our priority. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with those things in the proper priority, but what our kids hear and what they see are our truest values. And I'm very concerned right now the trajectory of homeschooling across the nation as I hear less and less about Christ and more about secular pursuits. So I encourage you today, as we're talking about vision from last week to this week, what is your vision for homeschooling? And that can be built upon what is your definition of success. I would encourage you to have a time to talk to your spouse. What is our main definition? And are we living true to that? Does our homeschooling experience reflect these are our values? Not so much in the big ways, my friends, but in those small ways. Those small things done day after day after day become the core of who our children are. If we get more upset because our child got a B on a spelling test, as opposed to that he lied about something, a character flaw, we are telling our kids what our definitions are. These things are very subtle, but they're very concrete in what they produce. So today I encourage you to take some time, ask yourself, what is our definition of success? Are we being true to that in our homeschooling experience? This is Kirk Smith with I.C.H.E.'s Take 5.